For more on this, let's bring in Republican strategist Melanie Collette, along with former senior DHS advisor under Alejandro Mayorkas, and retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Bernie Flowers, and global affairs expert and former CIA operations officer Laura Ballman. I want to talk about that post from President Trump. And I think finally, written so well, Melanie, what millions and millions of Americans have been thinking for a long time. He put the pen to paper and put it out there, and I applaud him for it.
I do too. Yeah, I think he was justifiably angry about what has happened to these two National Guardsmen, and in particularly what has happened to the young woman who just passed away. And he said what a lot of American people are thinking, to your point.
Said the quiet part out loud. That's what everybody's
exactly
thinking.
And it needs to be said out loud. We should be absolutely angry. We should be livid over this. We have let so many people into this country completely unvetted. And what President Trump is saying here, we need to know the difference between an ally and an assassin. Which one are you? And we need to vet those people and make sure that not one assassin and not one more American life is lost to someone who is not supposed to be here.
And that you want to come here and you want to love this country as well. You want to take part in the tranquility that was the United States, as he so put.
Yeah, we don't get that sense that that's what a lot of people come here to do. They come here to be taken care of, it feels like. And
Correct.
That's not what we used to be all about. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, taking the president's direction, he wrote this on X. Quote, at President Trump's direction, we are working to cut off federal benefits to illegal aliens and preserve them for U.S. citizens. The U.S. Treasury announced that it will issue proposed regulations clarifying that the refunded portions of certain individual income tax benefits are no longer available to illegal and other non-qualified aliens, covering the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Additional Child Tax Credit, the American Opportunity Tax Credit, and the Savers Match Credit. So, trying to understand what this means for the rest of us. Does this mean that we're going to have this mass exodus of people?
Laura, let's get your comment on that.
Denaturalizing Americans is a step too far. I've served with patriotic Americans who are citizens by naturalization. The president has members of his own family who are naturalized U.S. citizens. That's going too far. What happened here was terrible. And we need to find out whether this suspect was radicalized after he got here or before he got here. And it is, having been in the field with the CIA, there are both heroes and, unfortunately, we have had what we call insider threats. In other words, allies who turn out not to be allies. And screening and vetting is extremely difficult. I'm glad that the White House is revisiting how we do this. And it's been going long before the terrible, atrocious withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Lieutenant, want to get your comment from President Trump's Truth Post, but also you had a front row seat under Alejandro Mayorkas and what HHS was doing under his watch show here. So talk about it. They claim everyone was vetted, that they knew who was coming into the country and they wanted to be a part of our first world society here. Talk about that.
Bob and Edie, thanks for having me. Bottom line is Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas specifically lied to the American people. We brought 85,000 Afghans. And remember, our government was on lockdown from COVID. 80% of our government was working from home. So we brought all these people in, and we told the American people, specifically Mayorkas told the American people, that these people were being vetted for security and vetted for COVID and vetted for disease. I was sitting there on the senior staff, just a few doors down from him. I was part of his senior staff, and I was very angry. I wasn't in a position to say anything about it, and that's why I resigned. And bottom line is these people, Biden, Harris, and specifically Mayorkas, need to be held accountable for their lies.
Melanie, it's one thing to say we're going to start re-vetting everybody, but it takes a while. And people, countries like the UK, they're not saying, okay, you know what, we're re-vetting, but we're also looking for good citizens. You come here and show us then, as they check back in on them, what you've done to show that you are a good citizen. Are you volunteering? Are you helping those around you? Are your kids doing well in school? They want to see some give back.
As we should see some give back, and that was the original intent. You're coming into the country to add something to the country, certainly not work against Americans, and certainly not kill them.
Lieutenant Colonel, real quick, we got 20 seconds here. I crunched the numbers last night. 20 million people coming into our country over the course of 4 years. That was almost 14,000 people a day. Is that possible?
It's possible if you don't do it right. We didn't do it right. The Mayorkas group over at DHS flat out lied to the American people. He needs to be held accountable. He has responsibilities, and we need to go get him. But in the meantime, we've got a problem on our hands. We've got all these people here that don't need to be here. We're going to have to vet them at some point.
Colonel, Melanie, Laura, thank you very much for joining us.
Lieutenant Colonel, what do you mean by go get them? That's not cool. And you are a former service member. You know that's not cool. We are all Americans. That's what matters here. And all
Laura, people who are in the country illegally, they're Americans?
What I would like to say is all five people of us, all of us, our forefathers came here from other countries. We have to get
they did. Then they established a country with laws that have to be followed, or else you don't have a country.
I'm not arguing against or for illegal immigration. Not at all. What I'm arguing against is this rhetoric about we've got to go get Majorca. They've got to be accountable. I mean, look,
they broke the law.
Man, we lied to the American people. That's not acceptable.
Why don't you talk to the families of the people? Yeah, Bernie, go ahead.
You know what? Look, this anti-immigration rhetoric. I mean,
ma'am, I'm not
It's not
anti-immigration. I'm just
it's
trying to tell you
illegal.
that
There's a difference.
American people deserve to be safe.
True.
Bottom
Yes,
line,
we
we're paying
do.
the taxes.
What
Yes,
this does
we do.
is it highlights the conversation that we as a nation are having, and it's healthy.
I agree.
And it's about time to have. So
Yes.
all you've done is
I
really
agree.
reiterate exactly what's going on everywhere else. Melanie and Colonel and Laura, thank you very much for joining
Thank
us.
you.